So I'm here again. Will this torment ever end? Hey guys, welcome back to John 16. I am your host Javon, and today we have a brand new video. Today we have another benchmark suite of a bunch of games running on very low system specs. It's not going to end well once again. We're running today with trying the game with 8 GB of RAM. Once again, I tried with 4 before, then I tried with 2 on this system specifically. 2 GB was not fun, but you can go check out that video, as I'll have it somewhere in some corner of this video here. Will pop up at some point telling you about that video. Just click on that. It was a great video. Painful to play though. Regardless, we've moved up to 8 GB of RAM today, and we're curious to see how this will perform on those same games that I ran with the 2 GB. As you can see, the tweet is 2133 megahertz. It's not going to be bought for like $60 nowadays. It's pretty cheap, and well, for what you get, I mean, you get what you get, I guess, you know. The i3-7100U is 2 cores and 4 threads. It has a base clock of 2.4, no turbo, which is unfortunate because that CPU becomes a bottleneck in a lot of scenarios. Regardless, we have the Intel HD 620, which for the time being back then, I thought was pretty good for integrated graphics, and I mean way back then. And we have everything on an SSD. We have the SSD that boots into Windows, and we have another SSD that actually has the games on it. Will this be a fun experience? Probably not. Am I going to suffer? Definitely. Will you guys sit and enjoy this? I'll see you guys in a bit. But don't forget to please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get in. First up, we have Hades once again, and my gosh, 8 GB does a lot. I'm running at 720p right now. There are no other options for the game, and the game is hovering over 40 FPS on average. It's saying 50, but it's more like 40. What I find surprising is, remember last time I tested with the 2 GB of RAM, I tested this with 960 by 540, which you'll notice in this video I'm doing 720p a lot more, and the game is really playable with those 8 GB. Imagine running this with 2 gigs last time, and when it actually takes up over 5.6, that's insane to me that it was running on 2 GB of RAM. But hey, Hades now, with all the enemies destroyed, is performing a heck of a lot better. That CPU becomes a bottleneck quite a lot, which is never great, but Hades isn't that hard to run. Next up, we have Tomb Raider 2013, which surprised me once again. Didn't expect this one to run this smoothly, at least. Once again, that CPU becomes a bottleneck in basically everything, but at 720p low, the game did hover around, averaged over 30 FPS the entire time. I did dip at the end of this video, but other than that, the game will run at 30 FPS. Now, not in every area. Some of these areas that frame rate will drop, which I do recommend 540p instead. But if you're a heavy gamer like this and you're like, hey, I want the 720p no matter what, well, play it like this then, I guess. Watch Dogs 1, the original one, this this didn't run on 2 gigabytes of RAM, but it's running now at 800 by 600 on the low preset. The game is over 30 FPS once again. It's using over 6.6 gigabytes of RAM, which definitely explains why it didn't want to run on the 2 gigabytes of RAM. It kept crashing there, but hey, this seemed like a smooth experience. I was quite surprised by this. Now, take in mind I'm inside of the building, and as I get outside, the pain is going to ensue, but up until that point, it'll be a smooth ride, right? We're just trying to see what games perform and do what, okay? Dragon Age Inquisition once again. Dude, those load times depress me, bro. What is with that load time? At 720p low, the game is much more playable than it was with 2 gigabytes because obviously, but we're using 5.3 gigabytes of RAM, but I still can't necessarily consider this all too much playable. I mean, it really comes down to how bad do you want to play Dragon Age Inquisition on a low-end computer, because you can, but the CPU issues are there. Once again, those 2.4 gigahertz are not enough for this. It's switching between a GPU and a CPU bottleneck, which is never a good thing. And in the cutscenes, look, the frame rate just tanks. Regardless, though, if you really wanted to play it, you could, because for the most part, it is over 20 FPS on average. Not gonna lie, Batman Arkham Origins surprised me, dude. At 720p low, which is such a step up from the 2 gigabytes of RAM. I played this at 720 by 480 with the 2 gigabytes of RAM. With 8 gigabytes, I'm able to play it at 720p low, and the game still plays over 30 FPS on average. That is quite impressive. With 8 gigabytes of RAM, anything is possible. I'm actually curious to see. I would have loved to test it with the 4 gigabyte kit, but damn, 8 gigs, man. You can play this all day. I'm not sure. I never tested Batman Arkham Origins back in the day. I always played Asylum or City. So this is quite a great performance for me. Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition. Man, I tried again with this one, but at 960 by 540 on the low preset, this one just isn't playable still. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. Although I must say, with the 8 gigabytes of RAM, it ran, even with this frame rate of around 21, it ran quite smooth. And this is the smoothest I've played so far. And I've tested with 2 gigabytes and 4 gigabytes of RAM. With 8, it ran really smooth, even with the low frame rate. I just don't think that the GPU, the integrated GPU, is enough to handle this game, unfortunately, even no matter how much RAM you have. But with dual channel, maybe the performance will get a bit better. I don't know if it'll get 30 FPS better, but we'll see when I get to the 16 gigabyte video. I think other than Dragon Age Inquisition, Remember Me had a CPU bottleneck that was quite noticeable as well. As you can see here, it does go away after a while, but at 720p low, the game, this is definitely playable on Intel HD graphics. I remember actually beating this entire game with the Intel HD 620, but that was with an i5-7200U. It does utilize more RAM, but it's only using 3.8 gigabytes of it. So that tells me that with 4 gigabytes of RAM, this also would have been fine. The frame times, and I use fine in quotation marks because look at that frame time. That frame time is ridiculous. What is that? The game isn't smooth altogether though. Even when I was playing on a higher end system, I did notice it was stuttering a lot when I was playing, and I was there like, damn, these are old games, man. These old games be struggling out here. But other than that, hey, it's Remember Me. It runs. I can't complain. Castlevania Lords of Shadows 2 is at 720p with the medium to low preset. Well, medium low. I kind of switched around some settings, but a lot of it can't be changed in game or it just crashes the system. So I changed like shadows and whatnot to low, but left on particle lighting to medium. But hey, at 720p, even there, it still manages to hover over 30 FPS. I found that this needs 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'll tell you why, because the Ryzen video, I kind of struggled with the same damn settings. So it tells me that this one, even though it says it's 3.9, yeah, the definitely 8 gigabytes is helping this out quite a bit. This one is much more playable with 8 gigabytes than it would have been before even. So yeah, this one is going to stay at, look at the 1%, no, it's at 30. This is going to be a smooth 30 FPS experience. We are inside a throne room though. It may get demanding further on, but hey, it runs. Down to the last video once again, it's Devil May Cry 2013, and at 720p low, Well, obviously, you can see 725 from 540p to 720p has been a big ask for this game, considering that I think I was getting way higher frame rates at 540p. But yeah, this one also runs at over 30 FPS on average. We do get stutters every once in a while due to the 8 GB in single channel memory, but hey, check out the next video with the comparison and you'll see the difference between 8 GB and 16. With 8 GB, this also will be a smooth 30 FPS experience. If you want more, I recommend doing 960 by 540. But in conclusion, 8 GB of RAM, way better than 2, way better than 4. Definitely helped out a lot of these games. Even though this is single channel memory, I can definitely see the improvement due to the more RAM it has received. But once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and stick around for more epic content. I know most of the subscribers would have around the 4 to the 8 GB RAM range. I would expect most of you to at least have the 8 at least. Hey, it runs fine, but let's see what 8 versus 16 will look like next time.